guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Classics, Commander Karg. That is right, we are continuing our look at the William Stout collection, which is based on the 1987 Masters of the Universe motion picture, or specifically the costume designs, which is how these finally came to be. So we have had Karg before, but the version we got previously, they were able to do because they colored his costume blue based on the way he appeared in the motion picture comic book adaptation. So this right here kind of makes things right by giving us a more screen-accurate version of Karg, which is definitely a welcome addition to add right alongside these new 87 movie figures. So, our Commander Karg does come on the standard Masters of the Universe Classics blister card packaging, complete with that Castle Grayskull motif. I love that he's the evil master of cruelty. That is so awesome. Super 7 logo there on the side, and on the back, we've got the amazing artwork there for Commander Karg, along with the cross-sell of the William Stout collection, as well as the Final Club Grayskull figures from Super 7. And then down below that, we've even got a brand new bio for this particular version of Karg. So why don't we go ahead and get this figure opened up out of the packaging and get a closer look at it. Alright, we've got our Karg outside of the packaging. Essentially, this video here is going to be like one big comparison time, because as I've already mentioned, we got Karg previously in this lineup, but the version that we got last time was sort of a way that they were able to get him into the line by getting around like the movie licenses, so they used a comic book appearance. So he looks like the movie character, but he's colored like the comic book. Let's just bring it in. It's comparison time, my friends. So the previous version of Karg is this blue-clad, green-faced version over here. And at the time, we were all pretty thrilled to get him, because we thought this was the only way we were going to get Karg. Karg, of course, was an all-original character created for the film that had never had an action figure before this one right here. So now that Super 7 got the William Stout license and was able to do the designs that were made for the movie, they went back and they basically gave us the exact same figure, but now with more movie-accurate colors. So a lot of the things are basically identical, but I will say, aside from the colors, there is one big difference that is noticeable on here. If you look at the left hand of Karg on the figure that came previously, you'll see he's got that hook hand. The brand new figure has a new movie-accurate hook hand. So the hand actually, or the hook on his hand, the hook for a hand, actually looks like the one from the film now. So that is a really nice touch, and it's one of those things that I didn't think I knew that before I actually got the figure in hand, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. I thought that was a really, really nice touch. Aside from that hook hand there, everything else about this guy appears to be exactly the same with the overall sculpt. He's got the same sculpted details for the face, for the armor, every little thing going on there. The capes are the same. It's all about the color differences there. So we're going to go ahead and move our comic-styled Karg out of the way, and let's go ahead and focus on some of the details, because if you've never actually seen Karg before, there's definitely some stuff worth looking at here, because it is a beautifully sculpted action figure, and I always loved the head sculpt even on the previous one, but looking at the head sculpt on the new one, it's fantastic, because now he looks a lot more like he did in the movie. I love that very wrinkly face there with those deep-set eyes, the very big poofy white hair. You can see his ears kind of sticking out on the sides. Just all in all, a really, really cool looking head sculpt. I love the little frilly piece around his neck. And then you've got his armor there, which is now a gold and black color scheme, which is very, very nice. Now, here's the thing with this guy, and honestly, this is probably my one big complaint with Karg, and I'm pretty sure I had this exact same complaint last time. This, of course, is built on your standard Masters of the Universe Classics body, which are the big, muscular bodies. Karg was not a big muscular guy in that movie. In fact, I always kind of looked at him as a thinner, almost weaselly character, and he definitely doesn't come across that way on this action figure. This is a very big, strong-looking figure. Now, he looks great. I think the paint's awesome. Again, I love that head sculpt, but there's definitely something off about him being this beefed out. So I think that's going to be my one gripe. Now, I kind of had that same complaint for the Skeletor, because he looked a lot stronger than Frank Langella actually did in the movie. But all in all, that one I feel like came together better than this, because this just looks a little too beefy to be Karg. I don't know. Maybe that's my own personal nitpick, but definitely something that I wanted to point out. The cape on him is more of the traditional capes we see in the Classics line. Unlike the He-Man that had the cloth cape, this is more of that pliable plastic, so it is kind of sticking straight out. But I do love kind of like that furry top sculpted on there. I think that is really cool looking. And I love all the little details, like the little bits and pieces kind of hanging off of his belt there. I think that is pretty nice looking. Let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this guy. So the head's got this big poofy hair, and it's a very big solid head. So you can still swivel it left to right. You can see I've got a little bit of friction there where it's getting in the way of the articulation just a little bit. These big shoulder pads just kind of sit over the standard shoulders. You can see they're part of the armor there. So those shouldn't really get in the way too bad. You can still lift the arms outwards. You can move them forwards and backwards. You can swivel at the bicep. You get your single joint at the elbow. You can swivel at the wrists, even on the hook, which is really cool. And you do still have that hinge joint there on the other hand, where he actually has a hand. You got the ab crunch, you got the waist swivel, you do have the ball-like hinges at the thighs, so the legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards, swivel at the thigh. You got a nice tight joint there at the knee, and then the ankles can move forwards and backwards, as well as a swivel there at the middle of the boot. So articulation is pretty much exactly what you expect. If you've already got Karg, you know exactly what you're getting with this action figure. Seriously, I think the only difference I could spot sculpt-wise is with the hook. Everything else looks the same, except for the paint deco, including his accessories. So we've got this funky little knife dagger here, which has got like a gold blade and like a blue handle. So actually the blue handle is interesting because it doesn't really match the rest of the figure. In fact, that blue almost matches the previous figure. So I think that's kind of interesting, but you can see he holds onto it with a nice tight grip with his right hand. And then of course he's got his blaster, which I like a lot more because definitely feels more like what we saw in the movie, because we saw these characters using blasters quite a bit. He can hold onto it pretty good on his right hand. It's not the tightest of grips. You can see it's a little loose there, but it doesn't seem like it's falling out or anything like that. He doesn't have any holsters or anything, so there's nowhere to put the weapons that he's not using. But I do prefer that blaster. I think that is definitely the best looking weapon. And, you know, he looks really great, right? When you match him up with the other movie figures that we have. Obviously, having him lead around Sarad and Blade is pretty cool. Matching him up with the new Skeletor that we've got is really, really fantastic. But this is where I really get torn on my feelings on the inclusion of Karg, because when I look at that overall group shot, I really feel like we're missing Beastman and Evil Lyn. And you know, we already had a Karg, and I know that this one's more movie accurate, and I appreciate those details, but man, I kind of wish that we would have got a character that we didn't already have, so we could have at least got one more of those movie characters. Evil Lyn would have been awesome. Beastman would have been awesome. Even if we got more heroes like Duncan or Tila, that would have been great. Or Lubick. What? Throw Lubick in there. I don't care. But somebody brand new would have been really, really cool. As it stands, you know, the Masters of the Universe Classics toy line is going on hiatus, maybe never to return, so we may not have a chance to ever get the rest of those movie figures. So I'm always going to look at this Karg and wonder why he wasn't a Beastman or why he wasn't an Evil Lyn. But at the same time, I appreciate the more movie accurate costume. So I don't know. That's what I mean when I say that I'm torn on Karg. He's still a really solid figure. If you didn't already have Karg before, now you've got the movie accurate one, so that's really great. So there's definitely a lot of positives with this guy. He's still a nice figure. I just have those few little nitpicks that I pointed out in the video. And that, my friends, is going to do it for your William Stout Collection Karg action figure from the folks over at Super 7. These were available for pre-order only through Super 7, but are still available right now through stores like BigBadToyStore.com. So if they look like figures you want to add to your collection, I would probably recommend jumping on it before they're sold out and become impossible to find. Guys, thank you so very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.